Okay, so I was just thinking about this, and let me know what y'all think. But there has been times where I will be talking to a man, and I won't be feeling it, and people will be like, why? And I'll be like, he's just too nice. And people will look at me like I'm stupid. They'll be like, what do you mean he's too nice? Like, you want somebody mean? And I figured it out. It's not that I want somebody mean. It's just what I'm looking for in a man is masculine energy that is dominant over my masculine energy so it can bring out my feminine energy. Does that make sense? Like, if I feel like I have more masculine energy than you do, then I feel like you can't really be dominant over me and I can't be submissive and my feminine energy can't come out. Does that make sense? Because it makes sense to me.
Welcome back to the channel. You see the information on the screen, so you already know what I'm about. So let's get into it. So here we go again. I know a lot of people are probably ready to say that, or they'll be saying that by the end of this particular video. So here's the whole thing. And I'm just going to break it down real easy for you so that we can go through, especially for the new people to my channel. There are three basic personalities that I talk about all the time. You're about to see them on the screen. It's called the instinct type, the heart type, the thinking type. Most people, okay, can be summed up in one of these three types or a hybrid of these types. These types have nothing to do with your gender. It has more to do with your personality, with your temperament, and the way that you move through the world. All right? So no matter what the situation is, those three types or a hybrid of those types is in every single human being. I am primarily, okay, an instinct type, probably roughly 50 to 60% instinct type, followed by heart type. Okay? That's why I have a heart for people. That's why I care about people. Okay? And then after that, I have a little bit of thinking type. Okay? Those are the ways that my brain works. Okay? This lady has a lot more instinct type. Instinct-driven women are the number one women that complain the most about the dating sphere because they tend to walk, as she even said, in masculine energy the most, what we would call masculine energy. But it's not really masculine energy, it's really instinct energy. But it's like I said, that's how social media defines it because they don't have a better term. All right. And so what happens is an instinct-driven person tends to command other people, tends to teach other people, tends to be over other people. So an instinct-driven woman will be a manager on her job. She will be out on social media. Almost all of the women that are out here on social media, especially on YouTube, and especially the women over 35, more than likely, they're instinct-driven. And if you notice, a lot of those women, whether they seem soft or they don't, they tend to be the women that don't have men, that are always complaining about the fact that they don't have, options, that the men out here need to do this, that, and the third. And they're always giving advice and they're always coming up with information. Does this all make sense? It's starting to be clear. But you have women, for instance, at your church, okay, that are the heart types. And the heart types are the women that you come in, they greet you, they give you a big hug. They say, oh, well, baby, just stay after and we'll get you some food and we'll take care of you and all that kind of stuff, right? That's the heart type. They care about people. They're always volunteering. You go to the animal shelter and the volunteers that are there are heart types. Okay, the heart types are everywhere. Right? But the heart types generally aren't quite as attractive because they lead with heart. They don't lead with instinct. Okay, does this make sense? Now you have the thinking types. The thinking types is everybody else. When they are not, a heart type and they're not a instinct type, they are a thinking type. Okay, thinking types tend to overthink everything. They tend to want to go get knowledge so that they won't make mistakes in life. Does this make sense? Is all of it starting to come to make sense to you? So this particular lady, what she is talking about is the fact of trying to find a man, like she said, that is so masculine that it can force her to go into her feminine. And the sad part about this is almost every single time I have run into a woman that tends to be instinct driven, okay, what a lot of people consider masculine, what happens is that woman will end up with toxic masculinity because there is a such thing as a toxic masculinity person. And generally speaking, someone who is toxic in their masculinity is a thinking type man that is extremely insecure. So therefore, he has to push back with overset control, with a lot more control over the woman. So this is a man that will beat his woman. This is a man that is overly jealous. This is a man who will abuse her, maybe verbally. He's going to do things to try to control her because he does not know how to do it. And his natural way is not to do it. Now, you can find instinct types that have toxic masculinity, and you can find heart types that have toxic masculinity. But generally speaking, it's going to be a thinking type because a heart type man, okay, doesn't want to do that. He wants to love. That's just what he wants to do. And so it goes against his nature to be in toxic masculinity. And then when you start to deal with an instinct type, these men, they don't have to do it. It's in their nature where they don't have to do it. Now, the problem is when women have only dealt with a man that leans more into toxic masculinity, she believes that that is masculinity, that is the ultimate, but it's not. In the comments, people are talking about niceness, and a lot of people, really focused in on her comment of being nice, even though that's really not the issue or the problem. For instance, I've always said, for those that have been watching me for a long period of time, is that most women, when they see me at first glance, they think I am the nice guy, right? And I'll even say to a degree, I am the nice guy. Remember, I have, hard energy. I've talked about that. But here's the issue. It's nothing wrong with being nice, but there is a wall, okay? And the woman will hit the wall, not, saying with age, but that wall within me. So a woman might come in and she might say, do you mind if I do my hair a certain way? Some guys have a problem, with me doing my hair, either whether it's natural or wearing a wig. And I might be like, well, I don't care. You do you, boo. And then they might come in and they might say, oh, do you have wine? I like, this type of wine. And then they'll come over, whatever, and then I'll buy a bottle of that wine and I'll have it ready for them, whether they want it chilled or whether they want it room temperature. I'll have it ready for them. And then they're like, oh, wow, you take care of me, blah, blah, blah. So many times they will think, okay, this dude is a nice guy. He's catering to me. He's a simp. But see, that's not what's really happening. What's really happening is I am just a nice person. Even if I had a friend that was a guy and he came over and he was like, yo, let's watch the game, and I like lemon pepper wings, I would probably have some lemon pepper wings ready for him. But when it comes down to the way that I roll with my women, it's like, and this is what always shocks them, is that they'll say something and then I'm like, no, we're going to do it this way. And then they're like, the nice guy then told me what to do, And they don't recognize, see, when it comes to true leadership, that's when they hit that wall. And then they might say, well, I'm going to go out and I'm going to do X, Y, Z. And I'm like, no, you're not. Not if you want to be with me. You're not going to do it at all. And then they'll be looking at me like, okay, what just happened here? And they'll say stuff like, oh, you switching up on me. Are you changing? I'm like, no, I'm not changing at all. I'm a nice person. I'm going to make sure you're taken care of. But it's like like I say, people talk on the channel know I'm about to go next. I'm a servant leader. Servant leader. And like I tell people about Jesus, they would say the same thing about Jesus. The women, modern women today would say the same thing about Jesus. They'd be like, oh, Jesus, you're a nice guy. Jesus, you're a nice guy. But Jesus is very quick. Like I said, if you're hungry, he going to feed you. If you're thirsty, he's going to take care of you. In fact, he even talks about in the Bible that some of you are following me just because I fed you. Some of you are following me just because I'm giving, y'all your daily stuff that you need. But Jesus is very quick to say, okay, you too, Y'all go to the next town over there and start talking about the gospel. You two, y'all go over there. We'll meet back here in 3 months. But Jesus, we don't want to go. We just want, no, you're going to go now. Get out of my face. Go. Well, Jesus, I got to bury my dad. So, so can I, let me bury my dad to come back. No. If you got to be concerned about the worries of this world, you don't deserve me. Get out of my face. And you see that in the beginning, it seems like, oh, wow, coming to Jesus means that, everything's going to be great. He's going to take care of me. And he's this big simp in the air that's 100% got my back. But see, there's a point where you hit that wall with Jesus, where Jesus is like, do what I say. Do it now. Okay, I'm Jesus. You're not. Okay, and we're not going to play this game. And see, that's the thing that I don't think a lot of women like her get. Okay, because there's lots of nice guys that will bend over backwards for you. But the core element is, will they do something that they don't believe in because they like you? And that's the key. And if any woman ever wants to test it, that's the key in how you test it. So you listen to a man, you ask him about different things like his rules and regulations and different things like that. And then what happens is you push that limit. You push that limit. Like, for instance, if a man says, you cannot smoke in my house. You can't smoke in my house, or you can't smoke in my apartment, or you can't smoke in my car. And then you are a smoker, and then, you're like, well, I'm cute and everything, so I'm going to smoke in your car. And then he stops on the side of the road and says, get out. Because see, now that's when you're learning, oh crap, I thought he was a simp, but no, he has this rule. I have to follow this rule or it ain't going to work. Or he says to you, you're not going to disrespect me in public, or you're not going to do this, or you're not going to do that. And then y'all out at a restaurant, and because you want to get an extra appetizer or something like that, you start acting crazy. And then he's like, check, please. See, I think a lot of women don't understand men that were trained to be at a different level. And when they run into those men, I think that's why they think that they're simps or that they're losers or something like that. But there's nothing wrong with a man being nice. There's nothing wrong with a woman being nice. Okay, or kind. Like some people say kind instead of being nice. But the point of it is, it's about that gur that is right underneath the skin. And this is why I'm always encouraging women to talk to men so that you can figure out whether or not the man has that or if he doesn't. But see, with her, again, like I said, she talked about it. She says she has masculine energy. And what she's really seeking, like I said, is toxic masculinity, because she thinks that will put her in her feminine. It'll put her in her place. But in reality, if this woman actually runs into an instinct-driven man, a man with a lot of masculine energy, or even a thinking type or a heart type with a lot of masculine energy, what's really going to happen is that those men are just going to abandon her. See, one thing about masculine energy is that true masculine energy, not the fake crap that people are really trying to preach out here, but these people don't put up with much. I'm just being real. I don't put up with much. It's like, I'll give you enough rope, as people say, to hang yourself. But at a certain point, you're done. You're just done. And I'm not going to call you. I'm not about to worry with you. I'm not about to go back and forth. I've told you what I want. I've told you how it is with me. And you either get with that program or you get off this train. If I'm on a date and I'm sitting across from her or whatever, then I'm kind of gauging, like I said, her flow. First 1 or 2 dates, that's just what I'm doing. I'm trying to figure out who you are as a person. And so if she is all this masculine energy and she's just giving this stuff off and all this other kind of stuff, and she doesn't seem like she truly has control over her masculine energy, and it has to be pinned down by some kind of suppression system, then she doesn't really know who she is, and she's not truly walking in her feminine. And so I'm just like, why put up with it? So at that point, it's like, check, please. And I'm out the door. Okay, it's not me being mean. I'll still pay for that date. I'm not going to disrespect her. I'm not going to walk out like I've seen, some people do on social media. I don't have to do all of that. I don't mind going out, paying for the experience. It was just an experience I had to pay for. And like my dad used to say all the time, a bought lesson, okay, sometimes is stronger than a taught lesson. So when I go out and the woman's, acting a certain way, and I kind of had felt like that because I spent 30 minutes with her on the phone already, which I encourage everyone to do. And then now she's acting up, and now I just spent, $60 on the meal or $75 or whatever it is. That was a bought lesson. So that lesson will stay with me longer. And so now I'm out the door. Okay, she can go on with her life. I'm gonna go on with my life. And what's funny is I've been in these type of situations before, and I'll have these women to text me back, or I'll let them know through a text that I'm not interested, and thank you, for the opportunity to take you out last night. I had fun, blah blah blah, but I'm not interested in moving on. And these are the main women that will be in my text messages pissed off. Talking about, well, you missed a good thing and you don't understand, and I'm a good woman and all this other kind of stuff. And then I'm just like, no, you're not. Not for me, at least. Because you're not in control of your masculine energy. And then you're going to try to pin me down under your masculine energy when I really am just looking for a woman that's a little bit more feminine. Because what I've learned is that a woman who's truly walking in her feminine energy from the very jump, as soon as you come in and say 5 sentences, she's going to feel that masculine energy and she's going to quickly pop into her feminine. And for all the men out there that, like I say, are dating women that say, well, no, you have to work to put me in my feminine. That's not true. That's not true. A woman who has been trained to walk in her feminine, a woman who naturally moves in her feminine will pop in quicker. She's going to pop in almost automatically. And when you're dealing with masculine women, like I say, a lot of times they're a lot more attractive. So a lot of the men out there, you're going to run into them more because she just catches your eye more. But with those types of women, okay, you have to make the decision whether or not you're going to put in the effort to see how much of a feminine side she actually has. Because every woman has a feminine side, but it's all about who she shows that to. I've dated 2 women that have had a decent masculine side. And by me hanging out with them, I could kind of see it, in some of the things that they do. Like I said, I've dated several women that own their own business, different things like that. But the difference was they never showed me their masculine side. Their masculine side was 100% set for business, and that's just what it was. And then when they would hang out with me, they would turn into a little, puppy. And so that's just what it was. All right. But the bottom line is when they show me their masculine side, we got a problem. And if they have a masculine side, period, it is going to show up sooner or later. Because it's about control and things like arguments and different things like that. That controlling side is going to show up because it's the person trying to control, the conversation or whatever. But a lot of women understand when it comes to dating, romance, different things like that, how to walk in their feminine. And so no man should be trying to play the game of trying to keep a woman in her feminine. A woman should start off in her feminine. And then for her, if the man is not doing what he needs to do, she should be like, okay, thank you for the date. Not necessarily check, please, but, thank you for the date. I'm out. All right. And again, we have to stop this mindset of staying with people that this ain't going to work. And I think if people would do that more, there wouldn't be a lot of the problems that people have, out here on social media. So remember, on the 1st and 3rd Thursdays of 2025, we will have our Zoom lives. So come out to those. Those are always a lot of fun. You can jump on the call and, participate and talk and all this other kind of stuff. I just ask that you will be respectful. If you're not, I'm going to kick you off, just being real. And but it is open pretty much for everybody to show up. Those lives only stay out, on the internet for about, somewhere between 8 to 15 hours. And then I generally put them in the membership area. So if anybody wants to watch those older membership videos, you do have to become a member. But the membership is only $3 because I try to make it extremely cheap so that, people can get that data, but it can still stay private. And that's the main reason why I have the membership set up. So now after that, we are doing virtual speed dating. We'll be doing that for most of 2025. I will be, working in your area once I get enough people in your area. So all you have to do is just fill out that form, that questionnaire that is in the description, send in 3 pictures to an email that you'll find in that description. And then that's what I am going to use in order to figure out, okay, which city is next. All right. So yes, we'll do Atlanta first because, we already have a very strong and a large group actually here in Atlanta. So we're definitely going to do that first. But then after that, we will be moving city to city. I think a lot of people really should try to get their stuff in early because it really is first come, first serve. There'll never be more than like 25 people on the call. So you really do, if you're really interested in it, you really kind of need to get in early because a lot of people are sending those things in. And so, it can kind of throw people off in what they're looking for, and never worry about if you go early and then somebody, you're interested in comes in a later show, because remember, all that will be out there in the membership area where people can still see those older videos and they can reach out to you, if they're interested in talking to you. So that's another thing, that we're trying to do through that. But again, I am very motivated to try to help all of you get married. If you do find that any of this information helped you and you were able to get married or even engaged because of it, please email me in, pictures of your you and your person together, because I would love to showcase that out here for other people to encourage them and let them know, that God is in the business of, taking care of you in all aspects of your life. So anyway, please like, please subscribe, and I'm going to see you all in the very next video.